All right, hey everybody, it's me, Buster Green, and this is our final review of G-Quuux. Wow, what a crazy season it's been. Just so that you guys know, I'm going to still do regular videos for 2 weeks after this to cover a few supplemental things that I want to cover in the course of the series, but I hadn't had time to cover up to now. Anyway, so yeah, time to rank up the final week of G-Quuux Reaction Roundup, and before we get into anything, here are the notable and honorable mentions. Starting off the section was that Japanese viewers noticed that the G-Quuux' final title episode has the same title as Yoshiyuki Tomino's memoir autobiography, making some people wonder if we might get a classic Kill 'Em All 1980s Tomino ending for this one. So yeah, you might not have known that because this book was never published in America. Next up was Hideo Kojima revealing that he is a huge fan of the show. He's watched every episode, and as of now, he's caught up with the rest of us. So he is, like us all, on the edge of our seats with anticipation for how it's all going to end. And lastly, in the notable news section, was Char's Counterattack theme song Beyond the Time by TM Network going super viral over its use in episode 11. It went so viral that it became the #1 song on iTunes and a few other music charting platforms in Japan, which was really impressive for a song out of 1988. There were also a couple of people getting exposed to the song for the first time ever, and either being impressed with how good it is, how good the lyrics are, or thinking that the original single art is a little bit gay. And then one major thing I have to talk about because it's actually a big deal, there was a massive collection of G-Quuux concept art that dropped this week in Japan. They released the third and final behind the scenes art book, and it contains a huge number of big unspoken reveals about the show's development and about things that were figured out behind the scenes but never discussed in the show. We got new art of Machu, nothing major to note here aside for having a weird Tanuki keychain that I never saw before. But more interesting and really fascinating is the behind-the-scenes guidance materials on Machu's Haro, which tragically reveals that Machu's Haro was damaged, abandoned, and repaired, I guess canonically by the Pomeranians. But in the behind-the-scenes materials, it's mentioned that Machu was the one who planned the rescue and pulled him out of the garbage. Now, I'm not sure if that's officially the case, but otherwise he's a rescue Haro, and that's why he doesn't have arms and legs, because he lost them. And then the speaker he has is just a replacement to fill those holes. We got official concept art of the girls in their underpants for that one scene, and then there was apparently planned out a longer version of the story about Machu on Earth. Apparently in the original plan, Machu was going to become a maid and work at the brothel with Lala. That would have been pretty interesting, but never happened. Then the last bombshell that we'll get back to later was concept art of Machu at age 2, where it's revealed that Machu is a natural blue-haired person like her mom and Camille Badan, and she apparently dyes her hair to make it look less like her mom's, which is something we'll come back to talk about later. There were also a few new minor mecha reveals, mostly just concept art. We got some new concept art of the G-Fred showing a slew of alternative color schemes for it, which are mega fascinating because ultimately it ended up being Evangelion colors, and all of these skew a lot more gray. It almost seems like the Evangelion color scheme was selected as a joke, or otherwise it overwrote all the original suggestions. We also have the G-Quuux design for the Hambrabi, which is another interesting point of conception since it apparently originated as fan art Yamashita did in 2022, years before the series was greenlit, but then he was able to sneak it into the show and canonize it. Hell yeah. Way to go, Yamashita. Finally, in another mega intriguing point of observation is the design development for the mobile armor Kikaroga. I have to mention I'm super satisfied the most with the version we got in the end, and I wouldn't trade that for the world, but these runner-up designs are all kind of crazy and all over the place with a wide variety of different gimmicks and otherwise just strange weirdness. Probably everyone agreed that the favorite runner-up design was this one, number 8, which seemingly took into consideration that the cockpit on the Brabro is supposed to be where the lights are. The other ones are just kind of too out there. Okay, so with all those notable mentions out of the way, let's go into our top 10 ranking for this week. At number 10 at the bottom of the list was the weird and surprising realization that Cecilia Zabi seems to be the surprise main villain of G-Quuux, unless it's actually Char. That was totally unexpected for everyone, and I guess there were a lot of other options in play, but it's kind of awkward since I don't really consider Cecilia to be the original Mobile Suit Gundam villain. Like, the original Mobile Suit Gundam is definitely either Char or Giran, but nonetheless, Cecilia is the last surviving Zabi, and in G-Quuux, in some kind of weird course correct, it seems like they're trying to give Cecilia more development and pathos as a villain. I guess that's overall my take on it, considering that Nyan didn't shoot her dead instantly, otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation today. Number 9 was an overall large swath of end series predictions ranging from it's going to end like Ideon, everyone will die, the universe will be deleted, while Take the Strain had a pretty base take on the ending that the show will just end with Lala breaking up with Char finally and going back to her home universe. Otherwise, in Japan, a lot of people are just expecting there to be a ripoff of the Evangelion ending, like the one where everyone says congratulations, or the Rebuild ending where everyone goes back to a normal, boring life. Meanwhile, this user had more of an end of Evangelion ending in mind, where Machu and Nyan become the sole human survivors forced to repopulate the human race. Wait, that wouldn't work with them. Someone else predicted that in this episode, the G-Quuux will do the last shooting. Maybe that'll happen. Anyway, it does seem that thematically the ending is like some sort of deconstruction of Gundam's long-standing canon and showing that adults who are tied down to the canon are ultimately doomed to die. I want to say that I think maybe Char will die and maybe Machu, Shuji, and Nan will get a happy ending therefore. Anyway, Shalia Bull might be cursed too, but I hope he makes it out of this okay. He's been very cool. Number 8 was a running gag meme of people making alternate video edits and drop cuts of the end of episode 11 in a nutshell. Like, what if when Shuji said he's going to destroy the world, instead of the RX-78 showing up while Beyond the Time played, it was literally anything else. Now, a few examples I saved were the ones where it turned out to be Master Asia and the one where it turned out to be Sailor with a mace. There were actually a ton of these. I just didn't save all of them because a lot of them got copy struck down before the week was over because they all used like famous Gundam like theme songs. Just imagine there was one for Mikazuki, Kira Yamato, Soletta, Hiro Yui, Lauren and the Turne. Pretty much every popular Gundam you can remember showed up in like edits of this. This probably would have ranked higher on the meme rankings if most of them had been deleted when the week was over. Number 7. So remember that art of 2-year-old blue-haired Machu? So yeah, that blew up and became its own thing in controversy, with a lot of people just generally shocked at the news that Machu dyes her hair red, and reading into it more that she probably does it to distance herself from her mother. Then we got a couple of art pieces of Machu with blue hair, and also her hair being dyed red weirdly explains why she has red hair and blue highlights, because normally in anime a person with blue hair would have blue highlights, but I guess the blue highlights were a giveaway all along that Machu dyes her hair. That's really interesting, I guess. There was also a realization that Machu would have been about 10 during the events of Gundam 0080, so here's that. Number 6 was a long discussion of the true identity of Shuji, and once again, all bets are off with him being Skurako maybe, but some additional batshit concepts are he's Camille, or more specifically, Camille's reincarnation after he died at the end of Zeta. That's why he wouldn't trust Char. Another crack theory is that he's Chan Agi reborn as a man, or that he's somehow Chan and Amuro's love child, either conceived off-screen before CCA happened, or after their deaths in some weird unholy circumstance, like he's like a heaven baby or something. Anyway, here's a funny meme explaining that Shuji would have had to have led Machu to that trapdoor to make her faceplant into the theater like she did. And that leads us straight into meme number 5, which were all the memes of Machu's dynamic aerial dive into the theater, including her doing it like Lupin III, her doing it to kill Cassilia like Skirako, and this very funny meme of how different variations of Char would have caught Machu differently, with Zeta Gundam Quattro being fully pile-driven by Machu's aerial dive. Number 4 then was the magical girl Lala-induced Char transformation scene, with a few people joking that she should have turned him into live-action Char, and a few people laughing that she did it at all. And lastly, a surprisingly strong subset of people who really wanted Lala to turn Shalia back into One-Year War Shalia, who she canonically did meet one time. Now, at number 3 in ranking was Nyan, and really was a greater discussion on both Nyan's lack of agency as a character, that she didn't really know why she was doing what she was doing, and how she shot Cassilia, even if that wasn't even a conscious decision. It does kind of make sense of her character that she's kind of just going along with the vibes, but yeah, like, I feel like some people can relate to that and other people absolutely can't. Anyway, eventually Nyan shooting Cassilia became a meme on its own, with various artists taking turns redrawing the scene, with various weapons of choice, of escalating violence and idiocy. But big honorable mentions on this meme were her doing it with the original 0079 bazooka that Char used to kill her in the original series, the entire arsenal of the G-Fred that would have definitely killed her, the Space Runaway Ideon's Ideon gun, and oh yeah, as long as I'm talking about the Space Runaway Ideon, I should mention here that there's numerous people who are forecasting that we might get a last-second Ideon cameo, since Tomino famously wanted to somehow include Ideon in Turn 8 Gundam, but was denied by Sunrise. Lastly, coming in at number 2 was the Grandpa Gundam and Amuro Ray, with pretty much everyone thrilled to see it and wondering what the hell it's all about. Thrilled that Char and Amuro are going to be fighting again, thrilled that Amuro was coming to the Char-dominated storyline just to hand him his ass in the last episode. I super love this art here by Star Shadow Magic of Amuro Harlem Globetrotting a basketball, except it's not a basketball. It's literally the Sazabi's escape pod that Char Azimuth died in. And so, yeah, that is menacing as fuck, like very dark. Like, hey, here's the thing I used to kill you last time. I'm going to kill you with it again. So yeah, hopefully we're getting a classic Gundam versus Red Gundam fight, and people are very hyped up about that. People are also somewhat sickly expecting Amuro to show up, fix everyone's problems, and go back to bed. Although I feel like I need to lay down that we still don't know for a fact that Amuro will actually appear. It might just be Shuji inside the RX-78, as weird and nonsensical as that is. Maybe Shuji is from an alternate timeline where he was the Gundam pilot. So yeah, there's a lot of ways this could go wrong. I'm hoping Amuro appears in the last episode, but if Amuro doesn't, so be it. And finally, coming in at number 1, just an overall thank you to the show. Thank you to G-Quuux. A variety of fan arts just coming all over the woodwork, all over the world, throwing down some sick-ass posters, throwing down some overall respect to this great-ass show, and drawing their best art and doing some best pieces. It's been an awesome and wild ride, and I'm very, very stoked and happy as we go into this last episode. All right, here we go. We're going beyond the time. Who will survive? It's the end of Gundam G-Quuux. Let's do it. Okay, so we start on Shuji vowing to destroy the world. No beyond the time this time. Bummer. I really got used to that dropping. Kamali is randomly ID'd as someone with great foresight for what's going on. Xavier and Shalia keep fighting. Shalia vows that human reformation cannot happen under a dictatorship. It looks like Xavier and Shalia are about to finish it. Xavier is locked in for the kill. Meanwhile, Char and Shuji are also getting ready to throw down. The Yomagantho seems to open up like a big egg, and Char vows to send back anyone who comes in from the other side. As the Yomagantho splits in half, it's kind of gorgeous, and then Char plans to send Lala back, and explains that he himself helped build and plan out the Yomagantho for this purpose. Meanwhile, Shuji realizes that the Yomagantho is a two-way street, and I guess this is where he's going to get the Gundam from. Like, this is the same moment we saw in episode 11 at the climax, but played out slower and longer. So yeah, then the Gundam seems to appear, and Komali calls the Gundam the White Devil. The Alpha Psychoma goes crazy, and damn it, Shuji is piloting the Gundam. Damn it all the hell, I want to see Amuro Ray. So yeah, Shuji is also now trying to kill Lala with the Gundam. Ugh. But then Machu and Shuji have like a new type of communication, and we get this huge Black History moment where they flash back to the original Gundam. Hell yeah, Shuji calls it the LMF. And then we actually see 0079 with new animation, and wow, look at that Char's Gelgoog, all my nostalgia points. But wait, so then we're actually getting Amuro without Amuro? Holy shit, Amuro is so canceled. Alright, so then this is really sad. Here's Sayla's G-Defensor showing up, so it's the TV version, and then in an interesting choice here, Sayla gets another moment or two on-screen actions. And then here it is, the point where the universe changes. Char sacrifices himself for Lala. And how does that change things exactly? Oh my fucking god, she went nuts. So yeah, apparently Lala, after Char's death, got god powers and changed the universe a billion times with like re-rolls. Apparently she got Char's goof to happen, Char's big row to happen, Char's big Zam to happen, Char in that thing from MS Igloo, Char's Galbaldi Alpha. Wow, this is Char insanity. This is almost a Turn A Gundam level reveal that all the Char clones throughout the multiverse are just distortion of Lala's love for Char. Oh, and that thing at the top is apparently either Akuto Yamashida's original high-spec Zaku design that no one liked, although I've heard some people argue it's supposed to be his version of the Sazabi. Leave a comment if you know what it is. And oh my god, they're playing the beginning from the original Gundam series, and they kind of made this work by explaining this is a universe without Gundam, therefore it's a universe where Char pilots the Gundam. It's all Lala's crazy dream, and I'm like so here for that. Now, meanwhile, Cassilia is fully alive and well and out to kill Char, and we're actually getting a Gundam the Origin cameo back to the Zeon royal family for a second, with some weird pathos explaining that Cassilia's soft spot for Char was because she secretly wanted to be a mother. That is weirdly ironic considering the way Char died. Anyway, then Shalia Bull enters the scene and sees the White Gundam, and Shalia knows that it killed him. Freaky. So then Shalia goes on to kill Cassilia, and Side 6's battleship gets in the way just for no reason. And then Char actually kills Cassilia, said something of the same line from the classic series, and did the same old sarcastic hand salute as he blew her fucking head off. I love it. That was It was probably the most satisfying moment in the episode. So then Machu turns on Shuji to protect Lala. Machu is Team Lala, good for her. So then we're having this big G-Quuux versus RX-78-2 fight. Not the fight I expected, but pretty interesting. The G-Fred also gets into it, and Machu and Nyan have a big conversation. Machu forgives Nyan, and they finally become best friends. The RX-78-2 looks so weird. It has this like flatness and this unnatural dynamic animation. Its waist seems way too unacceptably stretchy. Anyway, then meanwhile, Xalia turns on Char and apparently declares Artesia Daikun the true leader of Zeon. What the hell? Does Xalia actually know where she is? Has Xalia met her? What is all this? Anyway, Xalia is then able to see into Char's future and knows that Char will eventually lose faith in humanity and destroy the world, and Char is just pissed about this. Wow, these are really some surprising fights. Not the fights I was expecting, but very entertaining. So then Shuji turns the Gundam into a bigger, grayer Gundam, and the girls are just confused by that. Nyan thinks it's a balloon. And yeah, apparently Shuji just has these batshit stupid god powers. And this is just giving me bad flashbacks to the PG Gundam from Gundam Breaker. So anyway, Char blows up the Brabro and Xalia escapes in an escape pod. Giant Gundam takes down the G-Fred. Nyan escapes in her core fighter. Xalia says that the Giant Gundam can't be dealt with because it's giant. Machu steps up to save Lala. Very fascinating. Machu seemingly bonds with the G-Quuux and goes full berserk maximum power with it, and seemingly gets through Shuji's crazy energy wave here. And Xalia is so absolutely proud of Machu. He became a great dad after all. Xalia then takes one last shot at Char with the Kikuroga's beam mouth. And the Red Gundam actually does do the last shooting. I knew they had to cram in this episode. All right, so Machu and Shuji then have a final conversation where Machu mentioned that Shuji truly loves Lala. And then reveals that he's been seeking her out for an unexplained period of time. So wait, is Shuji like the RX-78-2 pilot from another dimension? Is Shuji some sort of like parallel Amuro? Is Shuji just like another pilot who piloted the Gundam in an alternate universe? Or wait, maybe he's just some weird Gundam otaku who fell in love with Lala and like went multiversal. Anyway, Machu seemingly talks Shuji down from it, and Lala comes back to being awake. And then Shuji seemingly also falls in love with Machu. So Machu finally kisses Shuji, and there's a whole like weird unrequited love trinity between Machu, Shuji, and Nyan now. Anyway, so the Quuux cuts the head off the giant Gundam, and yeah, the ghost of Gundam 0079 is defeated. Lala finally awakens and causes a huge full Zeknova, which is so high resolution my 4K TV can barely display it. Good lord, look at all those pixels. And then the Yomagantho finally gets black holed into garbage. Now Xalia barely survives, and Char switches back to his previous outfit. He says that he will change his life so Xalia won't want to kill him, and he abandons the Gundam flying away in the core fighter just like Amuro did in 0079. Meanwhile, Xalia gets escape potted and rescued by Xavier like Char did in Char's counterattack, and Xavier says that Xalia can't be arrested because he's expected to become a leader now for the Zeon, now that the Zabli family has died and left a power vacuum. So, oh my god, who's going to lead Zeon now? Is it going to be Xalia? Is it going to be Sayla? Is it going to be freaking Haman Khan? Wait a second, Garma's alive. Did Garma fully abdicate from power though? Garma should lead Zeon. Oh my god, they're going to tell us. Okay, Sayla and Ramba Rao? What the fuck? Actual proper Zeon leadership in 2025? What is this? Okay, also, Xalia is wearing Char's mask? What? Also, he and Xavier and Kamali are watching from a hotel. Is Xalia like a one-in man in a mask now? Did Xalia change his identity to cover up that he killed Cassilia? Wait, Char killed Cassilia. Why would Xalia even have to do that? Well, I guess publicly more people saw Xalia trying to do it than they saw Char actually doing it. Anyway, meanwhile, speaking of Char, Char is in India and he finally meets Lala. And I guess Lala escaped from the brothel after Machu and the maids burned it down. And Char is wearing the Garma was a brat outfit, which is awesome fan service. Meanwhile, we go back to the Pomeranians in deep space. They apparently bought a Zoc at like a used yard sale and became space pirates, and they got another Haro. Also, the internet is calling out the scene as a Nadia reference because Boss Lady is sitting on a couch. Meanwhile, Machu's mom finally gets a call back from her, and oh hey, blue-haired Machu is on her phone. I guess that was a spoiler. And her dad finally came home. Anyway, meanwhile on Earth, Nyan, Haru, and Amate finally go to the ocean finally, and her phone is still cracked. Machu achieves her life goal of becoming a beach bum, but can't ever go back to her family because she's a wanted criminal in space. But hey, they're finally friends. And holy shit, that's it. Everyone actually got a happy ending. This user here, Earlbox, is calling out online that Machu's beach bag can be seen in the apartment at the ending. So the ending was actually real. It was the prophecy that someday they became karaoke pizza roommates. So yeah, I'm relatively impressed with this ending. And all right, that was G-Quuux. I overall kind of loved it start to finish, but goddamn, I just wish it had been a little bit longer. Although I guess if they had one more episode, it would have just been made Machu and like more Machu bonding with Lala, which maybe they needed to show like why Machu cared so much. But I guess Machu just cared that much like for anyone. But there's still so many unanswered questions I have about this timeline. Like, what does the goof look like? Where the fuck has Artesia been since the 1 Year War? Were Shalia, Bull, and Ramba Rao in cahoots? They seem like they had been since they had the same goal of installing Artesia as a figurehead of Zeon. And I did not expect the final battles to be Char versus Shalia with the weird Gundam versus Zeon vibes. And then Machu and Nyan versus Shuji. That was so bonkers. I don't really know if there was any significance to G-Quuux opening its mouth other than the fact it somehow neutralized the Gundam's beam saber. But yeah, actually, that had to be something. Like, there was some weird sort of alien presence at the end, and I'm pretty sure I think that was Amuro or the G-Quux's soul, maybe both. Like, I don't know, considering the chaos of the first Gundam, like, I realized Amuro stealing the Gundam itself was a fluke, but then, like, if it's not Amuro, whose arms are those in the G-Quuux, where the G-Quuux kills the Gundam? I don't know. The erasure of Amuro in the context of this show seems like something I need answers on. It seems like they didn't want to, like, go straight forward into it. But, all right, let's see what it says online. Online, there's this internet crackpot theory that I may or may not believe. The internet crackpot theory is saying the G-Quuux had the soul of Amuro, who died in Char's counterattack inside of it, transferred via that one T-shaped piece of the Psycho Frame that flew off at the end of CCA, and apparently somehow traversed the multiverse to end up in G-Quuux and get built into this Endymion drive, which almost sort of looks like Amuro's pilot helmet. If that's the case, then CCA's Amuro's soul both clarified Lala's will, wanted to free her, and told Shalia that Char would eventually try to destroy the Earth, therefore averting Char's counterattack. Although I'm also getting confirmation after the fact that Ikeda came back as Char for that one 0079 scene where he died in the Gelgoog, and original universe Lala was voiced by Keiko Han again in a surprise cameo. And yeah, speaking of which, Amuro's original VA was doing that one line in the Japanese dub. So, all right. Overall, I still like this ending. I do agree that in many ways at the end of this definitely was basically the rebuild of Gundam situation, because it was essentially the ending of Evangelion 3.1 and plus 1.1. Not in terms of everyone going back to living a boring life and society returning to normal, but definitely in terms of giving all the characters satisfying endings, tying up all their loose ends, and giving them all a sense of closure. I still really do need a sequel, though, addressing Camille, Haman, Glemmy, and Skirako and telling up what they're up to, but overall, I'm happy with this show. I just wish it had gone on a little bit longer and like just given us some more information about what the hell happened. Like, Makube's still alive. Like, who the hell knows what he's doing? They said he was prime minister in the first episode, and yet we never saw that. Maybe he's doing something evil. Like, there were a lot of fucked up Zeon pilots like all throughout the history of Gundam, and they're all like, I guess, alive and well in this timeline. So that seems like that could go somewhere. Anyway, what did you guys think of G-Quuux? Are you happy with the ending? Did you hate it? Are you with the Japanese that it's too derivative of Evangelion? Let me know what you guys think. I kind of was fully here for that Lala storyline. I just wish it had been a little bit more spread out and not like super packed in like the last 3 episodes. But overall, I'm happy with the way this ended. I think it did stick the landing. I just wish there had been a longer trip to get there and we had gotten more backstory and world building information along the way. All right, that's it for me. I will be back next week with some additional supplemental material. So thank you. Good night.